Hello everyone, good morning. Today is 17th of July and I welcome you all to the Hindu newspaper analysis discussion. So guys, in the today's video, we'll discuss the entire analysis of Hindu. We'll take all the articles along with the background and you can download the explainer notes of this session from our Telegram channel. Link for Telegram is given in description box in YouTube. Now first of all, let's take the overview of newspaper and let's understand that which articles are important in the today's newspaper for your exam. So the first page, we have this particular article. Government sets up new panel to review NSO data. We'll take this particular article with respect to the examination. After that, guys, panel wants Kuno cheetahs to undergo medical review. Now guys, we have seen that in the past few months there have been some cheetahs that have died also because of the infection such as the kidney failure and all such things. So they want just the checkup of that. However, you are not required to go and track such articles every day for the exam point of view. The cheetah relocation in India, how it will help in conservation, fine, that dimension is important. Then we have the regional issues, advertisements, much important things, however, are not here. We have one article here. China event raises concerns over India's only ape. We'll take this particular article. Then guys, again, political articles and regional issues, advertisements have been given. Moving on, we reach to editorial page. India's conglomerates are getting too big. We'll see this particular article with respect to the examination. Then inside we have article with respect to the India, France. We'll take this article also. The Ukraine counter-offensive, we'll see briefly. Then flood feud. So the article talks about the North India, which largely has been flooded because of the incessant rains that have been there. Then further moving on, architecture beyond the new parliament. Okay, architecture beyond the new parliament. So the article is talking about the new parliament building, okay, the architecture and all such kind of things. Guys, in this particular article, the article, much important relevant substance has not been there. Then we have the state of the play. So the article is, when we talk about the article is concerning the Telangana, okay. However, moving on, again guys, a lot of regional political hairline details have been given. Fine. Then moving on, we have on the next page the article in the text and the context page on Rahul Gandhi's conviction. Now guys, understand this particular thing. And basically, when we talk about the conviction of Rahul Gandhi in this particular case, okay, we have seen in the past much of the relevant information, the provisions of the RPA, fine, under which the Rahul Gandhi has got disqualified recently. A judgment has also come in this particular direction. Moving on, after that on the next page, how gaps in cloud system configuration could expose sensitive data. We'll take this particular article for the examination. Then guys, Manipur issues going on, fine, regional issues have been there. Okay, not for multi-role chopper by early 2024. Saffron HAL to set up firm in Bengaluru. We'll take the dimension in the India-France article. Then further moving on, SC Collegium's quiet transparency is driving change. Okay, so basically guys, we see this particular thing that the Supreme Court, Chief Justice of India, is supporting the idea of streamlining the appointment processes for the judges. Okay, now in this direction, in the past, NJAC, National Judicial Appointment Commission, has also been proposed. However, the NJAC is not taken up, but the Supreme Court says that we will bring more transparency in the appointment process through collegium only. Then moving on, the political issues etc. have been there. No need to go too much in detail here. Lightning, not a natural disaster. We'll see briefly what the article is actually talking about. Then moving on the world page, Russia has sufficient stockpile of cluster bombs, says Putin. Okay, so recently the USA has supplied the cluster bombs to Ukraine as well. Okay, then moving on guys, dangerous heat waves felt across globe. Then Shehbaz to hand over power to interim government. Now see this thing, these are just the evolutionary internal details. For example, the Pakistan that has come. Every of such article is not important for the examination, as I have told you multiple number of times. The issues having an implication on the foreign policy of India, okay, or the article related to the India's international interest is something that you have to see. Then today on Monday, we don't have business page, we have the money wise page. Lessons from Berkshire's latest acquisition. So guys, Hathaway Berkshire is the Warren Buffett's investment firm. So their recent acquisition is being talked about. For UPSC examination, there is no substance in this particular article. I will not advise you to go in detail in this. Then we have the sports page, okay, and after the sports page, in the last we have this science page talking about evolution is the right of all forms, even synthetic ones. Okay, now guys, understand this particular thing, that when we talk about the science page, many number of times the articles that come, they are talking deeply about the research papers, scientific studies, or the views of the different scientists. Okay, now in this particular capacity guys, as we talk about this particular article, okay, so the article is talking about two versions of the genome JCVI that have been found. Now moving on, please don't go too much in this particular article. For the exam, find the type of questions that have been asked. Such kind of substance is missing largely in this particular article. So this is the overview of newspaper. Now let's discuss all these relevant articles one by one in detail. And guys, understand this particular thing, that it is very much important that you should also learn the art of decoding the newspaper. Which type of articles, which type of articles are important, which type of articles might look that okay, it contains the substance, but within that content is largely not very much relevant. You need to learn that art also. Now, every class we start with the GS quotation which can be used in our exam. So today we'll be taking up the quotation from JF Kennedy, who says that economic growth without the social progress lets the great majority of people remain in poverty, while a privileged few reap the benefit of rising abundance. So JF Kennedy here is talking about the economic inequality that comes if the growth will not be broad based, if the growth will not be inclusive. Even in our GS paper number 3, there is topic of inclusive growth that has talked about. So inclusive growth is something that should be focused. Okay, otherwise what will happen? Few privileged people will get the benefit. There will be haves and have-nots, and the gap will be widened up. So economic growth with the social progress should be the goal of the welfarist state. You can use this particular idea in the essay as well as in GS paper number 2, GS paper number 3 answers. Now, taking up the first article for today, government sets up new panel to review all NSO data. Now, moving on guys, first of all, let's take some of the basic information. So basically, we have the Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation, and within the MOSPI, there is the NSO, National Statistical Office, and NSO is responsible in releasing a lot of data. For example, consumption expenditure survey is there, and the consumption expenditure survey gives the information about the poverty rates in India. Last consumption expenditure survey was done in 2011-12. Then it happened in 2017-18, but that data has not been released. Okay, so effectively we have 2011-12 CES. Then it releases the surveys such as the periodic labor force survey, which tells us the information about the employment, unemployment status, female labor force participation rate, and many other such kind of data are released by the NSO. Now, within basically guys, what has happened under the NSO, there is a body that was created in 2019. A body was created in 2019 that was SCES. What is this SCES? It stands for Standing Committee on Economic Statistics. Standing Committee on Economic Statistics. Why this particular committee was created in 2019? So, I told you that consumption expenditure survey was done in 2017-18, and I also told you that this information however was not released. Why it was not released? Because at that point of a time the quality concerns were raised. It was said that the quality of data is not 100% correct. Okay, so because of that quality concerns, even this data was not released, and in order to create a kind of a review mechanism, in order to create a kind of an internal system to ensure the quality, this SCES body was created in 2019. Okay, so this is the history till now, background till now that you need to know. Now what has happened, there is a new body that has come, and this particular new body will replace this SCES body, that is the Standing Committee on Economic Statistics. So Now the present article will start. So this information first you need to have. Now moving on, guys. So what has happened? So union government has constituted the has constituted a new body, and this new body will be standing committee on statistics. Standing committee on statistics, and this standing committee on statistics will replace the standing committee on economic statistics. Now understand this particular thing, these two bodies will not be much different. The earlier body just was concerned with respect to the economic statistics. Their quality will be seen, their review will be seen before the report is published. Now their work has been expanded. So now this new committee, standing committee on statistics, will take up all the different type of data, not just the economic data, even the social data is there. That will also be reviewed by this standing committee on statistics. Is it clear? Now this particular body will be under the National Statistical Office. NSO is under the Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation. Now this new body can have maximum 16 members. This new body can have maximum 16 members. As of now there are the 14 members. As of now the 14 members will be there, but maximum can be 16. So the 10 members will be the official members, okay, and the 4 will be non-official. They will be the academicians, experts, okay. So this is something that it will be taking up, okay. And from time to time it will also give the recommendation with respect to the data gaps that are there, certain things on which the data is not being collected but the data should be collected. So the data gaps that are there, okay, all other review quality issues, all these will be taken up. Fine. Now one more thing is that, fine, the final survey released should not be released. That will be taken by NSO only, okay. Now that is all about it. Moving to the next article, flood feud. Flood feud. Now this particular article will see with respect to the GS paper number 1, geographical phenomena, fine, and also with respect to a GS paper number 3, disaster management, and within the disaster management, the flooding. Okay, so basically guys, you might be knowing this thing that right now the North India is many states are under flood. You might be knowing that in the Himachal Pradesh, in Uttarakhand, Haryana, Punjab, there have been the excessive rains that have come over the last 2 weeks, okay, and because of that, those excessive rains, there many of the rivers, they are flowing above the danger mark, okay, and some parts have even got flooded, including the Delhi. So we see this particular thing, that why such a problem is coming. Now if you remember guys, in the past few years we have seen that either Delhi or either Bengaluru or Chennai or Mumbai, these metropolitans have been flooded repeatedly. But this year it is Delhi. Now largely Delhi did not used to flood that much, though there are some low-lying areas of Delhi that becomes flooded, but this year flooding in Delhi has been huge. This has to do lot because of the dynamics between the climate change, urbanization, and infrastructural gaps that are there. Because of the climate change, we see that in the because of climate change, number, we see that the glacial melt has been high, particularly in the summers, which is contributing more water in the river. Secondly, we see that the extreme events such as the cloud burst, the excessive rainfalls, they are getting accentuated. So climate change is leading one force. Then guys, we see that urbanization has been so rampant that the areas which were the wetland areas, which could acted as a buffer zone if there is an excess water in the river, okay, then that water flows towards the low catchment areas which were the wetlands. Now even these wetlands have been urbanized. They are high rise complexes, buildings, they are being made. So urbanization is uncontrolled. Then there are the infrastructural gaps. We don't have enough number of storm water drainages. We don't have enough number of basically the rivers, they are not being desilted, okay. So because of these three complex problems, we find that the North India is flooded. And when we talk about the hill regions, their excessive rain even contributes to more problems. For example, excessive rains, it leads to landslides, okay, and they pose a big danger. Now guys, when we talk about when we talk about the rainfalls in the North India, we see that first of all there was excess rain in the early 8 days. Fine, there was excessive rain in 5 out of the 8 days, but after that dramatically the rains have reduced. Dramatically the rains have reduced. Okay, so this again can be seen as an impact of the climate change that has been there. The climate change that has been there. Now, when we talk about the Delhi, so we find this particular thing that the government is squarely putting the blame only that on this particular thing, that there was the high water levels in the Yamuna, because of which the water levels have breached and the city has been flooded. But we see this particular thing that there is also the government failure also. For example, the desilting of drains was not done before the monsoons. Okay, after that the large scale concretization in the city that has happened, it impacts or it reduces the water absorption capacity. Land can act as a sponge. Okay, but excessive concretization has led to this particular problem. Then guys, we see this particular thing that the extreme rains, because of the warming that is going on, they will further increase, and urban flooding, as it has been a recurrent theme in Bengaluru, Chennai and Mumbai. Delhi, it can be there in Delhi, and we see it in 2023. So Delhi should not consider itself as immune, and timely steps should be taken in this particular direction. Okay, so that is all guys about this particular article. And here one very good suggestion have been given. See, when we talk about the air pollution problem in Delhi, which comes around the month of the October and November. So Delhi and the regional states such as the Haryana, Punjab, Uttar Pradesh, they are collectively coming together to solve that problem. Even in the monsoon season, the river, fine, all these particular things, there can be the collective collaboration between all the states that are here. Now, moving to the next article, something special. Now, this article will be seen with respect to the GS paper number 2, India-France relations. India-France relations. Now, guys, we have seen that in the last 1 month, a lot of high-profile visits of Indian Prime Minister to the different countries have happened. First of all, it was US visit. After that, it was Egypt visit, and now it is the France visit. So, the Prime Minister of India visited the France for the 2 days, and this visit has been crucial on many of the fronts. We will be taking up briefly what have been the key takeaways from this particular meeting, and how the France can be used as an important partner for India's multiple concerns. Now, first of all guys, what has happened? India and France both are celebrating the 25 years of the India-France strategic partnership in 2023, and the vision for the next 25 years for the India-France relation has also been laid down. And in these next 25 years, India-France cooperation will largely be centered on technology and defense ties. So the Horizon 2047 roadmap has been created. What is this Horizon 2047? Next 25-year roadmap between India-France relations. So the cooperation will be there. I told you, technology and defense. So the cooperation on defense, space, nuclear energy will be there. Even on the climate change and green transitions, there will be there. Now you might already be knowing that International Solar Alliance was the brainchild of India and France. Okay, so on climate change, green transition, also the cooperation will be there. Now guys, moving on. So we have also seen that recently France also came with their Indo-Pacific strategy, and now more and more countries, they are showing their interest into the Indo-Pacific strategy. Why? Because Indo-Pacific will be a bridge between the East and the West, and in the Indo-Pacific, China is flexing its muscle. And as therefore the Western countries have a very important interest in Indo-Pacific, France also has an important interest into the Indo-Pacific. Therefore, it wants to connect India for its Indo-Pacific strategy. So therefore, on the Indo-Pacific region also, the cooperation will be increased. Military and naval exchanges will be there between the India and France. Now, guys, when we talk about some of the big ticket takeaways that have come from this particular meet, is that first of all, guys, even before the meet, Defense Acquisition Council has decided that we will buy 26 more Rafale fighter jets from the France. Then there will be the 3 more Scorpion submarines that will be procured from the France. Already, guys, we have procured 6 Scorpion electric diesel submarine from the France, and apart from those 6, 3 more Scorpion submarines will be procured. Then, guys, there has also been agreement that has been signed between the Hindustan Aeronauticals Limited and Safran for the helicopter engines. Okay, for the fine, so medium combat engines, this agreement has been signed. And then next, guys, when we talk about that India and France, how they can be the meaningful partners, it is because that both the countries deeply respect the democratic values, republican values. Moreover, we have seen this particular thing that the France has always been a very meaningful and supportive ally of India. For example, in the United Nations Security Council, India wants a permanent seat, and France has been a clear supporter of the India for a permanent seat in the UNSC. Then we see this particular thing that also the France has not commented too much on the internal issues going on in India, unlike the US, which have repeatedly commented on to the India's internal issues. So basically, all these things are something which makes France a meaningful partner for India. So this is, guys, all about this particular article. And now moving to the next article. How gaps in cloud system configuration could expose the sensitive user data. Okay, we'll see this particular article with respect to the GS paper number 2, data data privacy issues, as well as in GS paper number 3, fine, cyber technologies and the issues, threats in the cyber technologies. There we'll take this particular article. Now, first of all, let's take up the basic information, and then we'll be going in the detail in this particular article. So basically, guys, traditionally what happens, traditionally, uh, this is a user, and this user has some data. This data can be some text, this data can be some photo, this data could be some video. Now this person, what he can do, he can store this particular data on his computer. He can store this particular data physically on his computer, or let's say he has some other physical server in a hard drive or any place. This particular person can store the data. But always this could not be the most effective way out. This could not be the most effective way out. Why? Because suppose if this computer is stolen, if your server gets compromised, if your hard drive becomes corrupted, all your data is lost. All your data is lost. So what happens now? There is a new architecture that comes in between, that is cloud. Now, what is a cloud service? What is a cloud service? So we have many of the cloud service example. For example, the Google. For example, Google offers a cloud service. What you will do? All this particular data will be uploaded on the Google Cloud. That information will then be relayed to a physical server. That information will be relayed to a physical server. Okay. Now, what can happen at the multiple devices in the real time? Fine. For example, at your computer, at your device, at your iPad, at your mobile phone, you can access this particular information through the cloud. You have example, for example, the Google Photos. You might have used the Google Photos. So what is happening? All your photos are being uploaded to the Google Photos, fine, and from there you can access it whenever you want. Now this particular things, now this cloud arrangement, it has a lot of benefit. For example, it is very much efficient. Okay, it is cost effective. Now see, I am running, suppose I am running a company. Now, as my company will grow, I will need more and more data space. Suppose today, if I invest so much in the physical servers, okay, so see, if I want to store my information in my physical server, it will entail a lot of cost. Fine, what I can do, I can take the Google Cloud services, and these services are highly customizable. I'm a small business, I can take the space for 1 TB. As I'll grow, I can scale that. Okay, I don't need to invest anything. So cloud have become to go option for the corporates to store their data. And today big corporates even, they store a lot of information not on their servers but on some cloud which are being offered by another company. For example, Amazon provides the service, cloud service, Microsoft is providing. So these companies are using the clouds. Now we see this particular thing, guys, that even in these clouds the information is getting compromised. And recently the Thales Cloud Security has carried a survey, and okay, in this particular survey, what has happened? 35% of the organizations, 35% of the organizations in India say that their data was compromised, their data was breached in the cloud environment. Their data was on Google or Amazon or some other, and that data got compromised. And 68% of business in India and 75% of the global business, they say that 40% of their data is stored in the cloud, and that data is a sensitive data. For example, information about the credit card details, okay, other personal information. So the sensitive, 40% of the sensitive data of the companies, it is stored in the cloud, and the clouds are being compromised. So basically when we talk about the cloud storage, we have seen that what the cloud storage is. The most important advantage of the cloud storage is scalability. Now guys, suppose yesterday I started a tech company. Let's say I start an edutech company. Till yesterday I was a small company, but after within 6 months I have become a very big edtech company. I have 5,000 hours of class videos that are there, then a lot of things are there. Now physically I cannot scale my physical servers to have that particular information, but within 1 minute I can take the cloud service, and whatever data I want to store, I can store that. So they are scalable. Big businesses prefer them. Okay, they you can reduce or expand your data footprint as per your needs. Okay, most cloud providers also offers the security, such as the physical security, their data centers security, cyber security, all will be their headache. But we find this particular thing that with the cloud storage there are the issues that are there. For example legacy IT issues. For example, there will be many there will be the IT system issues that will be there. Then the third data party storage architecture has many issues. For example, there will often be the weak authentication practices that are there. Easily guessable passwords are there, which makes these data prone to breach. Now let me give one example. Suppose I have stored all my sensitive information on Google Drive. The data, the password sometimes is very weak. For example, I put password 11111. Sometimes even the double factor authentication, two factor authentication is not there. Because of that, people enter your cloud, they steal your enter your drive or something and steal your information. Then there are also the poorly designed security controls on the behalf of these cloud servers that are also there. Okay, so this is something which is leading to all these particular kind of problems. Now guys, whose responsibility is to protect this particular data? So the responsibility is to protect this data is of the cloud service provider. Okay, fine. So the ensuring the data security lies on the companies, even though they are giving the access to the vendors and partners, but they have to maintain the cyber security, cyber compliances need to be there. Now data encryption is one of a way by which this information could be saved. Okay, for example, suppose your information is ABC, it will be encrypted like 321, something like that. Okay, even if a person gets that information without the decryption key, he will not be able to make any sense of this information. Decryption key is like this, that 3 stands for A, 2 stands for B, 1 stands for C. So this is the decryption key which is telling this pattern. So the encryption could be one of the most effective way out to solve this particular problem. But the point is that when the encryption is to be done, before the information is stored or once you are storing information, the cloud should do that encryption. That is something that has to be seen. So that is all guys about it. I hope that you have understood. And now moving to the next article. Now here we have this article, India's conglomerates are getting too big for comfort. So basically guys, here the article is giving the examples of such of India's big corporates For example, there is Adani Group. You might be knowing few months back there was this Hindenburg report that was released. But again, we see that the Adani Group is scaling its operations. It is getting the funding. It's it's increasing its footprint. Then Reliance Industries recently, they have announced the demerger of its financial arms. So merger is when two organizations come together. Demerger is when two organizations go apart. So now Reliance Industry is focusing on the financial services domain. So in the financial services industry, the Reliance is entering. Adani is becoming big. Then we have the Tatas and Aditya Birla Empire, who are also performing well and are entering in almost all the sectors today. Now, the article is saying that we see that few business houses are becoming too big. They have their presence in almost all the sectors. But other businesses in India, they are not doing good. Their financials are not very much good. Their market size is not very much good. So in India, the point is that few conglomerates are too big, and then the 99.9% are very small type of business. So now it has been seen that such kind of thing is not good for democracy. It is not good for democracy. In the past, it has been seen that when the concentration of wealth comes in the hand of few companies, then it becomes bad for the democracy. What happens? It For example, there will be the crony capitalism that will be there. Few big houses will influence the policies. Then there will also be the concerns. For example, they will be influencing the media also. They will be influencing the government also. All these particular problems comes. Okay. Then there is asset inequality, income inequality. So differential power structures also develop. Fine. So this is something that is there. And when we talk about the India, we see this particular thing that there are few big corporate houses which are very much close to the political parties also. Given their proximity with the leaders, they are giving so much of the funding to the political parties, and because of that particular thing also, it has become the concern. So point is that India needs to now, obviously that is not preferable that you take the wealth of these companies or you restrict their growth, but at the same time we also need to help the other businesses that they should also grow, so that we have multiple players. Not this inequality is something which is needed. So this is about it. Then now moving to the next article, the Ukraine counter-offensive, a reality check. Now, basically, guys, I have given this article, the summary though here, but article is not that much important for your exam point of view. I will tell you, as this Russia-Ukraine war is going on, fine, every day there is some development that is going on in Russia-Ukraine. You are not required to track day by day commentary in this respect. Now, we see this particular thing that in June 2023, recently, just 1 month back, there is a huge counter offensive that has been started. Okay, that has been started by the Ukraine. How the Ukraine has taken up this counter offensive? It is by the help of the West and particularly the USA. Recently, USA has also supplied the cluster munitions to the Ukraine so that the Ukraine can use it against the Russia. Now, if you see, Ukraine is getting the support of the NATO. Ukraine is getting the support of the NATO, and by the NATO support, it is virtually has an unlimited supply of the weapons which it is using against the Russia. But you see, the number of people that are dying on both the sides of Russia and Ukraine, they have been high. Ukraine will have the a lot of weapons, but what about the army personals? What about the people? Okay, it doesn't have the unlimited number of people to fight this particular war. Now, USA is not concerned that what will happen to Ukraine. For USA, it has become an ego war. USA is supporting the Ukraine so that Russia gets defeated at any cost. But what will the future of Ukraine? The US is not concerned about that, and US even doesn't want that the negotiation should happen between the two countries. It just wants the defeat of Russia. So therefore, the NATO, USA is giving them all the money, all the weapons, everything, and the war is going on. So the article is saying that the Ukraine should use their mind and should understand that what will be the end of this particular war. So this is the brief idea that has been given in this article. Beyond that, guys, I'll not advise you to go in detail in this particular article. Why? Because as the time you will write your exam, this a lot of information about this Russia-Ukraine war, a lot of situation would be changed by then. Okay. Then we have this article, what is coral bleaching? Okay, so basically guys, around the world we see that the coral bleaching now has become a big concern. So basically guys, when we talk about the corals, so you might have seen that the corals, they have vibrant colors, bright colors. Okay, and when the corals lose that color and become completely white, that is called as coral bleaching. Now, why this coral bleaching is now increasing around the world? So first of all, understand this particular thing, that the vibrant colors of the corals, they get by the zooxanthellae, which is a type of an algae. Now the zooxanthellae and the corals, they have a kind of a symbiotic relation. They have a symbiotic relation. The zooxanthellae will get the habitations, okay, will get the habitation, okay, here, and the zooxanthellae in return will give their vibrant colors, okay. Moreover, the corals, they also provide the zooxanthellae also provide the amino acids and sugars to the corals and receives many minerals from the corals, carbon dioxide from the corals. So there is a symbiotic relation between the zooxanthellae algae and the corals. Zooxanthellae provides them the color. But when the temperature increases or the water becomes too much acidic, these zooxanthellae leaves the coral, and as they leave the coral, that vibrant color of the coral is also lost, and then corals become white. It is called as the coral bleaching. Why it is happening? It is because of the ocean acidification, which is largely because of the increasing temperatures, which is because of the huge carbon emissions, fine temperature rise that has happened. So collectively, the climate change crisis now need to be resolved. Now, lightning not a natural disasters. So for guys, for the prelims examination, some data here you can see. So basically guys, there are a lot of people who have died because of the lightning, and according to the National Crime Record Bureau, these many people have died in the lightning strikes in 2021, huge number. Now, many of the states such as Bihar and West Bengal, they are demanding that the death by the lightning should be classified as a death by natural disaster. Right now, when we talk about the natural disaster, cyclone, drought, earthquake, fire, flood, tsunami, hailstorm, all these things, fine, they are considered as the natural disaster. Now, if these deaths will be classified as a natural disaster, what will happen? Basically, once that will happen, the victims families will be entitled a compensation from the state disaster response fund. And in the SDRF, 75% of the contribution comes by the state, by the center. Now see, suppose people are dying by lightning. Now the state government has to give the compensation to the family, or if the people have got injured, then the state have to give all the 100% money. But if it will become the natural disaster, then the money will not come by the state, will come from the SDRF. Here 75% money is contributed by the center. So they want this particular thing. Now, when we talk about India, guys, India also has an early warning system for lightning, where it can predict the lightning 5 days to 3 hours in advance. So, if we have such advanced system, why we are not able to prevent the deaths? Now, then we have another small article. Again, we will see it for the prelims exam point of view. And the article reads, China event raises concern over India's only ape. So the article is talking about the Hollock gibbon. Now, when we talk about the Hollock gibbon status is endangered on the IUCN red list. Fine. And this Hollock gibbon is found in India's northeastern states. It is found in the India's northeastern states. Okay. Now, what has happened? Recently, a conference happened in the China, and this conference is talking about the conservation of the different apes, and there they have also talked about the conservation of the Hollock gibbon, which is found in the northeastern part of the India, and which is the endangered on IUCN red list. Okay, so basically guys, as we talk about the Hollock gibbon, these are the smallest and the fastest apes, and live in the tropical and subtropical forest, which are found in the India's northeast. And these are also one of the 20 species of the gibbons. So out of the 20 types of gibbons, one is the Hollock gibbon found in the northeast. And the conservation status the conservation of the hollow gibbon as by the China is not being done effectively in India. So this is something that they have expressed a concern. Now that is not a thing that whether you have to go and you have to see, there will be one element that okay, it is China who's saying that India is not conserving. There might be some vested interest, or there, or you can interpret some in some other way also that no, it could be genuine also. That is a different thing. But hollow gibbon status, all these things are something that you need to remember. Now, why the hollow gibbons are facing a threat? Because of the loss of the habitat, felling of trees, infrastructure development that is happening in this region. So that is about it. And then guys, we have the main practice question for today, which reads, India's relationship with France is unique and multidimensional. Comment. So this will be a GS paper number 2, 10 marker question. So that is all guys about this. And now we have come to an end to the today's newspaper analysis. So that is all. Thank you so much.